birthday. It's my birthday today. Hooray! Hooray! It's my party now. This is my mom and dad. This is my brother Ben. And this is my sister, her name's Bill. And grandpa's here too. My grandpa's name is Bill. I love him. Let's have a party. Let's make a big cake. Let's sing lots of songs. Let's get some balloons. It's my birthday today. Hooray! Hooray! I've got lots of cards. And these are my presents. Is this a bat? No, it's a sun hat. Is this a clock? No, they're some socks. Is this a toy tiger? No, it's a toy spider. It's my birthday today. Hooray! Hooray! It's my party now. We've got lemonade and ice cream. But where is my toy spider? Oh, it's on Grandpa's head. And this cake is great. And now I'm 8. How old are you? Are you 8 too? Thank you, Mom and Dad and Jim. Thank you, Ben and Grandpa Bill.
I want to tell you a story about 3 little pigs. There was once a mother pig who had 3 little pigs. When they were old enough to leave home, she set them into the world to seek their fortune. The first pig met a man who scanned a bundle of furs, and he said to him, "Please, may I have some of your furs to build a house?" The man gave them some furs, and the little pig built a nice little house. So the wolf came up to the house. He knocked at the door and said, little pig, let me come in." The little pig answered, "No, no, by the hair with my chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your whole thing." So he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he blew the whole thing, and ate up the little pig. The first pig met a man who was carrying a bundle of furs, and he said to him, "Please, may I have some of your furs to build a house?" The man gave him some furs, and the little pig built a nice little house. So the wolf came up to the house. He knocked at the door and said, little pig, let me come in." The little pig answered, "No, no, by the hair with my chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and in the end he blew the house in and ate up the little pig. The third pig met a man who was carrying a load of bricks, and he said to him, "Please, may I have some of your bricks to build a house?" The man gave them some bricks, and the little pig built a nice little house. So the wolf came out to the house. He knocked at the door and said, little pig, let me come in. The little pig answered, no, no, by the hair in my chinny, chin, chin. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. So he huffed and he puffed, and he huffed and he puffed, but he did not blow the house down, but it is made of brick. He had to think of some other way to get the little pig, and he said, little pig, I know where's that nice field of turnips. Where? Asked the little pig. In Mr. Smith's field. Except tomorrow morning I'll call for you and we'll go together and get some turnips for dinner. But the little pig got up at 4 o'clock and put the turnips before the wolf came. And when the wolf called again and 6 and asked and said, are you ready, little pig? Answered the wolf. Little pig said, I want to build to the field and I will put a turnips on the fire. I cook them for dinner. The wolf now was very angry indeed, but he wanted to get the little pig, and he said, little pig, I know where's a nice apple tree with rice apples on it. We can go together. And little pig said, where? And wolf said, down at my garden. I'll go for it 4 o'clock tomorrow morning and we'll go and get some apples. But the little pig got up at 3 o'clock and he climbed the tree and the wolf little pig, you're here before me. Are the apples nice? Said the wolf. Yes, very nice, answered the little pig. I throw you one to 10. And he threw the apple far away as he could. And when the wolf came to the apple, he jumped down out of the tree and ran home. And the next day, the wolf called again. And he said, little pig, I know where the fay chicken can stop to you. Do you want to go? We can go together. Oh, yes, answered the wolf. What time have you been ready? At 3, answered the wolf. Now, little pig got up very and put a butter churn at the fair with
The pig bought a butter churn at the fair, and he was on his way home. He saw the wolf.
On the road. He did not know what to do well. And he
Got inside the butter churn.
And when the churn began to turn over and go downhill, with a little pig inside it.
And this frightened the wolf.
This frightened the wolf so much
That he didn't go to the fair, but ran home. Then he went to the pig's house and said,
oh, little pig, I got such a fright. I will go to the fire, run downhill, past me. Ha ha! I frightened you, then, said the pig. I go to the fair and put a butter on at the fair. And
When I saw you, I got into it and rolled down the hill. So was the wolf angry?
Angry.
Yes, he was. He was really angry indeed.
And he
Decided
took one down the chimney and ate up the little pig.
and when the little pig heard a noise,
on the roof, he put his biggest pot on the fire to boil, and then took the lid off just as the wolf was coming down. The wolf fell in, and the little pig boiled him. Now little pig lived happily as he could, and he said, "Little house of brick." I'm Anfisa. I'm 7 years old. Story about Jack and his friends. Once upon a time there was a boy whose name was Jack. One day Jack set out to seek his fortune. He hadn't gone very far when he met a cat. "Hello, Jack," said the cat. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to seek my fortune," said Jack. "May I go with you?" "Yes, if you like." So Jack and the cat went on. They hadn't gone very far when they met a dog. "Oh, good morning, Jack," said the dog. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to seek my fortune," said Jack. "May I go with you?" "Yes, if you like." So Jack and the cat and the dog went on. They hadn't gone very far when they met a cow. "Hello, Jack," said the cow. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to seek my fortune," said Jack. "May I go with you?" "Yes, if you like." So Jack and the cat and the dog and the cow went on. They hadn't gone very far when they met a goat. "Good morning, Jack," said the goat. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to seek my fortune," said Jack. "May I go with you?" "Yes, if you like." So Jack and the cat and the dog and the cow and the goat went on. They hadn't gone very far when they met a cock. "Good morning, Jack," said the cock. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to seek my fortune," said Jack. "May I go with you?" "Yes, if you like." So Jack and the cat and the dog and the cow and the goat and the cock went on. They walked until it got dark, but they couldn't find a place to spend the night. At last they came to a house. Jack told his friends not to talk or to make a noise while he peeped through the window. And do you know what he saw in the house? Some men round the table, and they were counting their money. "Robbers," said Jack to his friends. "Now, when I say go, make as much noise as you can. I will frighten the robbers." And they all ran away. So in a minute, Jack said, "Go." And the cat mewed, "Meow, meow." And the dog barked, "Woof, woof." And the cow mooed, "Moo, moo." And the goat bleated, "Me, me." And the cock crowed, "Cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo." And they all together made such a dreadful noise, but they frightened the robbers, and they all ran away. Then Jack and his friends went inside the house to have a good sleep. The cat lay down on the rocking chair. The dog lay down under the table. The goat lay down at the top of the stairs. The cow went into the cellar where it was nice and cool, and the cock settled down on the roof. Then Jack closed the lamp and went to bed. Now the house was dark, and in a little while everything was quiet. Then the robbers decided to return to their house, so they told the one man to go back and see if everything was all right. He went on tiptoe to the house as quietly as he could, but so he came running back all out of breath and very frightened. "Don't send me there again," he said. "It's a dreadful place." I tried to sit down in a rocking chair, but an old woman stuck her knitting needles into me. That wasn't an old woman. That was the cat. And I went to the table and looked under it. And there was a dreadful little old man up there with pincers under the table, and he stuck his pincers into me. That wasn't an old man with pincers under the table. That was the dog. And I went to the cellar, and there was a... And I went up the stairs, and there is a dreadful little... An old woman with a sweeping brush knocked me right down again. Oh, the silly, that was the goat. And I went to the cellar at where was nice chopping wood, and he hit me on the head with his axe. That wasn't an old man with an axe. That was the cow. But there was the one who said the robot was on the roof. There was a dreadful little old man up there who shouted, "Throw him up to me! Throw him up to me!" The silly, that was the cock. I didn't want to be thrown after him, so I ran right out of the house, and I never was there again. Then the robbers never went there again, and Jack and his friends stayed in the house as long as they liked.
Listen. Ben emailed Daisy an invitation to his party. The email said, "Hi Daisy, please come to my party now next Saturday at 3 p.m. The address is 31 Grass Road. Wear fancy dress. See you on Saturday." Ben. Great for Daisy. Party is always exciting, but the fancy dress party is very exciting. She went to tell her mother about the invitation. "What can I wear to the party?" asked Daisy. "I haven't got any fancy dress clothes." "No," her mom answered. "Fancy dress shop. Take you for a fancy dress shop in the Duck Street in the town." That afternoon, Daisy's mother drove her the fancy toy in Duck Street. When Daisy walked into the shop, she laughed. "There are hundreds of things that I can wear here. Look, Mom, a 5-ounce jacket, an astronaut's costume, a nurse's uniform, a circus clown's trousers, a panda costume. I can't choose." "How about this kangaroo costume?" Daisy's mother said. "Or what about this pineapple costume? Oh, look, Daisy, this kitten costume is great." No, I don't want any of those." What about this doctor's coat?" Daisy's mother asked. No. But Daisy saw a pirate's costume. She loved it. Can I try this one, please? She asked the man in the shop. Yes, you need a mustache and a beard. Here, put them on. And gave you a curly mustache and a long black beard. There's a room at the back with a big mirror on it. Daisy carried the clothes and the beard and the mustache to the small room at the back of the shop and put the trousers, shirt, belt, scarf and hat on. Then she put the mustache and the beard on too. She smiled at her face in the mirror. I love this! Yes! This is great! I'd like to be a pirate for my afternoon. Suddenly, felt the wind in her face. She looked down to her feet. They weren't on the floor, small room on the back of the shop in Duck Street. She was on the big ship in the sea. Pirates ran up and down. They all looked very busy. Her! Come on! Oh, the pirate shouted at her. We want some more treasure! Climb that sail and look for ships! But Daisy couldn't move. Am I dreaming? She feared. What's the matter? The pirate shouted at her. You aren't afraid of the climbing the sails, are you? Yes, I am, Daisy answered. Then jump into the sea with the sharks, he shouted. We don't want any who are scared on this ship. Daisy was very afraid now. Where am I? She asked. Pirate stopped shouting and looked at her carefully. I don't know you. Where did you come from? Did you come from the another ship? He asked. No, I came from the fancy dress shop in Duck Street, Daisy said quietly, and I'd like to go back there now, please. I don't know forward for an afternoon. Then a big wave splashed her face. Ah! Water dripped off the end of your nose and off your mustache and beard. Got very wet too. Her clothes got very wet too. She looked down, but she didn't see the ship. She saw the floor of the shop. Mom! She called. Come here quickly! What's the matter, Daisy? Her mother asked. In how your face and all your pirate clothes get wet? Don't ask me, Mom. I don't know, Daisy said. But I know I don't want to wear this pirate costume again. Please give it back to the man. Well, would you like an astronaut costume? No, Mom, Daisy said and laughed. I don't go to the moon. Can I buy a tin costume, please? That should guide me in the garden.
My younger brother is called Fred. Fred's very interested in animals. He talks and asks questions about animals all the time. Fred's very interested in ferrets and parrots and lovebirds and lizards. But Fred's favorite animal was living in the sea. He has pictures of whales, dolphins, and octopuses on all the walls of his bedroom. Fred doesn't stop talking when I'm doing my homework or when Mom's trying to read quietly. Never stops talking. Shh! Fred! We have to say sometimes. Last Saturday, friends wanted to go to the library to get a book called The Most Interesting Animals in the World. And then he wanted to go video shop to give a DVD called Leopard Spots. But Mom said, "No, Fred, I want Aunt Jane to come and look at you. You've got lots of little red spots on your face." Aunt Jane is a doctor. You have all red spots. Fred looked in the mirror. "They don't hurt," he said. "Do you know, Mom, leopards have spots, and those kinds of dog got a Dalmatian that has hundreds of spots too." "Yes, I know," Mom said. When Aunt Jane arrived, she asked Fred, "Have you got on your arms, or on your back, or your shoulders?" Fred said, "No, octopuses have got 8 arms. Did you know that, Aunt Jane? They've got 3 hearts too." "Have they?" Aunt Jane said. "Can I look at the little flashlight?" And do you know, Aunt Jane, a blue whale is the biggest animal in the world, Fred said. "Yes, Fred," Aunt Jane answered. "But can I look in your eyes now?" "That's right. Look up. Good. And down. And dolphins are cleverest and animals in the sea," Fred said. And Jane said, "Have you got a cold or a cough?" "No," Fred answered and started talking again. "Sharks are the most dangerous kind of fish. And when a shark loses a tooth, another tooth grows. Do you think sharks have toothaches sometimes?" "Fred, stop talking, please. I want to look in your mouth now. Say ah." "Ah," Fred said, and then started talking again. "And dolphins are good at bouncing balls on their head. Do you think they have headaches sometimes?" "I don't know, Fred," Aunt Jane said. Then she smiled at him and said, "But I know you need some medicine. You must stay at home today, and tomorrow you can go to the library to get your book and go to the video shop to get your DVD on Monday, okay?" And Jane opened the mouth of green medicine and put some on the spoon. Fred didn't like medicine. He stopped talking because he didn't open his mouth. "Open your mouth now, please, Fred," and Jane said. But Fred didn't open his mouth, and Jane had a clever idea. "Do you have whales have stomachache?" she asked. Fred opened his mouth and started to say "ah." When Fred did this, Aunt Jane quickly put the medicine into his mouth. "Whoa, that's horrible," Jack said. But then he smiled. "Hey, I like this medicine a lot. It's the nicest medicine in the world. Can I have some more?" And Jane laughed. No, she said. You can have a glass of orange juice. Anne said. But then Fred started talking. Whens don't drink orange juice, but do have stomach aches, I think. They have very big stomachs. Do you know they eat? Shh, Fred, I said. Shh, Fred, Mom said. And shh, Fred, and Jane said. Once upon a time there was a rich baron in the north of England. He was a great magician and knew everything that was going in the future. So, one day, when his little son was 4 years old, magic books for his magic son, his magic book. And he found out that his son would be married to a poor girl that had just been born in the city of York. The Baron knew that the father of the little girl was very, very poor, and he had already 5 children. So the Baron got onto his horse and rode to York. He saw the man as he passed through his house. Poor father was sitting by the door, sad and unhappy. So the Baron got down off his horse, went up to the house, and said, "What is the matter, my good man?" And the man said, "I have already 5 children, and now the 6th has just been born. When I can fill all them out? If this is your trouble, I can help you," said the bird. "I'll take you with the last little baby, and you want to think about it." "Thank you very much, sir." And he went in, brought her baby girl, and gave her to the Baron. When the Baron got into his horse and rode away with the baby, then as he rode above the river Ouse, he threw the child into the river and rode off to his castle. But the baby girl did not sink. She kept her up for some time as he flung it. She was carried just in front of the fisherman's little house. Fisherman found her, and he felt pity for the child. He took it into the house and gave it to his wife. So the little girl lived with the fisherman until she was 15 years old. She was now a beautiful young girl. One day it happened that the Baron and some of his men were hunting banks of the river Ouse. It was a hot day and they wanted to drink. They stopped at the fisherman's house and asked for some water. The girl came out to give them water. They all noticed her beauty, and one of them said, "You can be sweet, Baron. Who will she marry? What do you think?" "Oh, that's easy to guess," said the Baron. "Some villager. Come here, girl, and tell me what day were you born?" "I don't know, sir. I got picked up just here by the river about 15 years ago," said the girl. Prum, pum, pum. Then the Baron knew who she was. When they went away, he rode back and said to the girl, "I'll make your fortune, girl. Take this letter to the Baron's cabin. It will take all of your life." The girl took the letter and said, "Thank you very much. I should go to her brother." And now this is what he had written in the letter. "Dear brother, take this girl and put her to death at once. Your brother, Humphrey." So the girl sat down for Scarborough. She slept the first night a little inn, And that very night, the band of robbers broke into the inn. They slaughtered the girl who had no money, but they found the letter. They opened it and read it, and thought it was a shame to kill the poor girl. The leader of the robbers took a pen and paper and wrote this letter. Dear brother, take this girl, bring her to my son at once. Your brother, Humphrey. He gave the letter to the girl and told her to go to Scarborough. So she went to the Baron's brother. This brother was a noble knight, but the Baron's son was living in his house at the time. When she gave the letter to his Baron's brother, he ordered to his servants everything for the wedding at once. And 2 young people got married that very day. Along the banks of the river Arno in Italy, there's an old walled city full of splendor, with its golden towers and many palaces. It looks like a fairyland. In this beautiful city called Florence lives little Francesca. He lives in the little house and neighbors with her mama and papa and brother Nina. Francesca likes her art girl. They among the beautiful pinks and gold frames. Francesca dreams about a wish that is close to her heart. It is a secret wish. Many artists from all over the world to make copies on a great masterpiece. The smallest pictures of all are painted by an American lady. Francesca never tires of watching the lady in a big hat, and never dresses too close for fear of disturbing her. But to herself, Francesca whispered over and over, "Oh, I wish I could have a painting, oh, just a little one to take home." One day, when thinking her secret thought, he tripped over. "Oh, excuse me," she said, and went on. The cat followed her and got in between her feet. Finally, Francesca stopped and bent down. Around the cat's neck was a locket and a ribbon. There are lots of cats and frogs, but Francesca, whenever one on the locket was a picture of a lady. "Oh, you lovely cat," Francesca said. You must go home to your mistress." And she let the cat lay to that night, had a sad cry out of the wood, and in the dark below was the strange cat meowing. But Francesca just had to let her in. The next morning, one of the mamma's baskets lay in a cat, and beside her was a tiny newborn kitten. Francesca's skin was an American lady, but she always she could play with the cats. Forlorn Kitten's eyes were open, and she was bouncing up like a ball of fur. "Oh, I wish you belonged to me, you sweet little kitten." No, said Mama and Papa. "The cat belongs to the lady on the locket, and now it belongs to her, too. You must try to find the lady. That's the right thing to do." Francesca knew she must do the right thing, but she said to herself, "I do not wish the mistress of the kitten, but I will try. I will." The sisters at the counter said, "No, we have never seen this lady." The man with the minecart said, "No, I don't know her." The flower lady said, "What a pity. Signor Tucci sells birds. Hey, you better the policeman, Francesca." The policeman had heard nothing at lost guess. Francesca's heart ached. Maybe she could keep the lovely cats after all. Kate had tried, haven't she? She will take them home now. This is what she would do. Next morning, Francesca hung the kitten and stroked the cat, then ran to the gallery. She has missed a whole day. What is he gone away? No, the lady was dead. Francesca crept slowly and softly towards the lady. Suddenly, there was a great commotion to the gallery. The lady turned. Francesca gasped. They were the cat, Latin about, tried to get him. They had followed Francesca. The kitten lit with her left little tongue, but the mother sat right up into the lady's lap. She had belonged to an American lady all along. He was a glorious reunion. Only Francesca was sad. She's going to miss the little kitten. When the lady could catch breath, she said to Francesca, "You have made very happy. Will you help me carry the cat home?" Francesca followed Ready to the big hotel into the lady's room. The lady went to the easel saying, "A little kitten should belong to a little girl, and the geishas hairs into little painting to hang around, and his wishes both came true, with her very own picture and very own kitten. Francesca was like a fairy tale princess, and she skipped happily to her narrow house in the narrow street in a beautiful city of Florence.
The Happy Prince. High above the city, on a tall column, stood the statue of the Happy Prince. He was covered with thin leaves of fine gold. For eyes, he had 2 bright sapphires, with a large red ruby shone brightly on his sword hilt. He was very much enduring indeed. He is as beautiful as the weathercock, said one of the town council, to which gave a reputation to having artistic tastes, only not quite so useful, because she was needed to make him proud, which he really was not. "Why can't you be like the Happy Prince?" asked the sensible mother of a little boy who was crying for the moon. "The Happy Prince never drinks for crying anything. I'm glad who is someone in the world who is quite," said the disappointed man as he looked at the wonderful statue. "He looks just like an angel," said the cherry children as they came out of the cathedral. "How do you know?" said the master. "You have never seen one." "Ah, but we have in our dreams," said the children. And the master frowned and looked at them angrily, if he did not approve of children's dreaming. One night they flew over the city. Little Swallow, his friend, went away 6 weeks before, but he stayed behind because he was in love with the most beautiful reed. He saw her only in the spring, as he was flying down the river after a big yellow log. It was so attractive by her slender waist that he stopped to talk to him. "Shall I love you?" whispered the Swallow, who liked to come to the point at once, and the reed made him a low bow. So he flew round and round her, touching the water with his wings. This was his courtship, and it lasted all through the summer. He was ridiculous attachments with the other Swallow. She was no money and far too many relations. And indeed, the river was quite full of reeds, and then when the autumn came, they flew away. After they had gone, the Swallow felt lonely, and he thinked about his lady love. "She has no conversation," he said, "and I'm afraid that she is a coquette, that she is always flirting with the wind." Suddenly, whenever the wind blew, the reed made graceful curtsies. "I think that she is domestic," he continued, "but I love traveling, and my wife also likes traveling. Will you come away with me?" he said finally to her. But the reed shook her head. She was so attached to her home. "You have been trifling with me," he cried. I'm off to the pyramids. Goodbye." And he flew away. All day long he flew, and at night time he arrived of the city. "Where shall I stay?" he thought. "I hope the town has made preparations." Then he saw the statue on the tall column. "I will stay there. It is a fine position, with plenty of fresh air." So he settled just between of the happy prince. "I have a golden bedroom," he said softly to himself, as he looked around, and he prepared to go to sleep. But just as he was put under his wing, the large drop of water fell on him. "What a curious thing," he said. "There is not a single cloud in the sky, but stars are quite clear, and yet it is raining." The climb of the drop of Europe, the rain used to like the rain, there is only her selfishness. Then another drop fell. "What is the use of the statue if it can keep the rain off?" he said. "I must good for look Chinikep," and he decided to fly away. But before he had spread his wings, the third drop fell. He looked up and saw, and what did he see? The eyes of the happy prince were filled with tears, and the tears were running down his golden cheeks. His face was so beautiful in the moonlight that the little swallow was filled with pity. "Who are you?" he said. "I am the happy prince," he said. "Why are you weeping then?" asked the swallow. "You had me thoroughly wet." "When I was alive, I had a human heart," answered the statue. "I did not know what tears were, so I lived in the palace of Sanssouci when Thor was not allowed to enter. In the daytime I played with my companions with the garden, and in the evening I led the dance in the great hall. Round the garden very high wall, and I know under it. Everything about me was so beautiful. My courtiers called me the happy prince, and happy indeed I was, if pleasure be happiness. So I lived, and so I died. And now that I am dead, they had put me up, and I can see all the ugliness and all the misery of my city. Though my heart is made of lead, then I cannot choose but weep." "Why, is he not solid gold?" said the swallow to himself. He was too polite to make personal remarks out loud. "Far away," continued the statue in a low musical voice. "Far away in little tree there is a ball house. One of the windows is open, and through it I can see a woman sitting on the table. Her hair is thin, and she had coarse red hands, all pricked by the needle, so she's a seamstress. She is broadly in passion flowers, in a satin gown, with wolves with a crook to wear at the next court ball. In the bed in the corner of her room is a little boy who was lying ill. He has a fever, and he is asking for oranges. His mother was not, so he is crying. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, when you bring me out of Rubia, my feet are fixed this pedestal, and I cannot move. I am waiting for in Egypt, said the swallow. My friends are flying down Nile and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will be asleep on the throne of great king. The king is there himself in his painted coffin. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, can't you stay with me one night and be my messenger? The boy is so thirsty, and the mother is so sad. I don't think I like boys, said the swallow. Last summer, when I was staying on the river, there were two rude boys. They were the miller's sons, who always throwing stones at me. They never hit me, of course. We swallows pay far too well for that. But still, it was a mark of the disrespect of the happy prince was so sad that the little swallow was sorry. It is very cold here, he said, but I will tell you. Would you not be your messenger? Thank you, little swallow, said the prince. So the swallow picked up the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it over the roofs of the town. He passed by the cathedral tower where the marble angels were sculptured. He passed the palace and heard the sound of dancing. A beautiful girl came out of the balcony with her lover. How wonderful the stars are, she said, and how wonderful it's the power of my love. I hope my dress will be ready in time in the court ball, she answered. I've ordered passion flowers to be embroidering on it, but the seamstresses are so lazy. The swallow passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging on masts of the ships. He passed over the garden and saw the old Jews bargaining with each other and weighing out money in copper scales. At last he reached the boy house and looked in. The boy was lying ill at the bed and mother was sleeping. She was so tired. The swallow laid the great ruby on the table. That he flew gently above the bed, fell on the boy's forehead with his hands. How cool I feel, said the boy. I must be getting better. And he fell asleep. Then the swallow flew back to the prince and told him what he had done. It is curious, he said, but I feel quite warm now, and it is so cold. This is because you got a good action, said the prince, and the little swallow began to think. And then he fell asleep. Thinking always made him sleepy. When day broke, he flew down to the river and had a bath. What a remarkable phenomenon, said the professor of ornithology as he was passing over the bridge. A swallow in winter. And he wrote in the local newspaper. Everyone quoted it that it was so many words that Tonight I go to Egypt, said the swallow, and he was in the good mood of the prospect. He visited all the public monuments and sat alone at the top of the church. Wherever he went, the sparrows said to each other, What a distinguished stranger! So he enjoyed himself very much. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. Have you any messages for Egypt? He said. I'm just starting. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince. Can't you stay with me one night longer? I'm waiting for an Egypt, answered the swallow. To borrow my flint up to the river where sits the bulrushes, and on a great crater throne sits the god Mannan. All night long he watches the stars, and when the morning star shines, he heard it one cry of joy, hooray! But then he said, At the moon, the yellow lions count down to the waters each to drink. They have eyes like green barrels, and their roar has rivaled the roar of the canary. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince. Far away across the city, I see a young man in the small house. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and by his side there is a bunch of violets. His hair is brown and crisp, and his lips were as bright as pomegranate, and he has large, dreamy eyes. He is trying to finish a play of the director of the theater, but he is too cold to write anymore. He is more frightened, and hunger has made him weak. I will wait with you one night longer, agreed the swallow, who really had a good heart. Shall I take another ruby? Alas, I have no ruby now, said the prince. My eyes are all that I have left. They are made of rare sapphires, which were brought of India thousands years ago. Pluck out one of them and take it to him. He will take it for the jewel and buy firewood, and finish his play. Dear prince, said the swallow, I cannot do that. And he began to weep. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, do as I command you. So the swallow plucked down the prince's eye and flew away to the student's small room. It was easy enough to get in, as there was a hole in the roof. Through this he quickly flew and came into the room. The young man had his heart buried in his hands, that he did not feel the flutter of his body when he looked up, he lying on his violets. I'm beginning to be appreciated, he cried. This was from the invited admirer. Now I can finish my play. And he looked quite happy. The next day the swallow flew down to the harbor and sailed and watched the sailors haul big boughs under the hull with ropes. Heave ahoy! They said, shouted. I'm going to Egypt, cried the swallow, but nobody paid much attention. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. I've come to say goodbye to you, he said. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, pleaded the prince, can't you stay with me one night longer? It is winter, answered the swallow, and the chill of snow will soon be here. In Egypt the sun was warm and the crocodiles ran and lazily above it. My companions are building a nest in the tower of Baghdad, and the big doves are watching them and cooing to each other. Dear prince, I must leave you, but I will never forget you. Next spring I will bring you 2 beautiful jewels and have stores you've given away. The ruby shall be redder than a red rose, and the sapphire shall be as blue as a great sea. And the square below, said the happy prince, here stands a little girl who sells matches. She has let the matches fall in the river, and they are all spoiled. Her father will beat her if she is not bring home some money, but she is crying. She has no shoes or stockings, and her little head is bared. Pluck out my other eye, and her father will not beat her. I will stay with you one night longer, whispered the swallow, but I cannot. You'll be completely blind. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, do as I command you. So he plucked out the princess other eye and flew with it. He found the match girl and slipped the jewel into her hand. What a lovely bit of glass, cried the little girl, and she ran home laughing. Then the swallow came back to the prince. You are blind now, he said, so I will stay with you always. No, little swallow, answered the poor prince, you must go away to Egypt. I will stay with you always, said the swallow, and he slept at the prince's feet. All the next day he sat on the prince's shoulder and told him stories of what he had seen on the strange way. He told him of the red ibises who stand in long rows on the banks of the Nile and catch goldfish, on the Sphinx, who is older than the world itself and lives in the desert, who knows everything, with the merchants who walk slowly by the side of and carry amber beads of their hands, at the kingdom of the mountains of the moon, who was as black as ebony, and wedges of rice crisps, and a great green snake that sleeps on the palm tree, and he has 20 priests fitted with honey sweets. And at the picnics, who sail over large red leaves, who are always at war with the butterflies. "Dear little swallow," said the prince, "you tell me of marvelous things, but the most marvelous thing of all is the severance of men and women, and is this no mystery so great as misery? Fly over my city, little swallow, and tell me what you see there." So the swallow flew over the great city, and saw the rich making merry in the beautiful houses, while the beggars were sitting off the gates. He flew into dark places, and saw the white faces of starving children looking out like a black street. Under a bridge, 2 little boys were lying in one another's arms to try to keep themselves warm. "How hungry we are," they said. "You must not lie here," shouted the watchman, and they went down through the rain. Then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen. "I'm covered with fine gold," said the prince. "You must take it off, leaf by leaf, and give it to the poor. People always make gold them happy." So the swallow took off leaf after leaf of the fine gold to the happy prince, who was quite tall and grey. He brought leaf after leaf of the fine gold to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosy, and they laughed and played games in the street. "We have bread now," they cried. Then the snow came, and after the snow came was the frost. The streets looked as they were made of silver. They were so brightly and crispy. Everybody walks about the furs, and the little boys with coloring caps who skated on the ice. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he would not leave the prince. He loved him too much. He picked up crumbs outside the baker's door when the baker was not looking, and tried to keep themselves warm by fluttering his wings. But at last he knew that he was going to die. He was just enough strings to fly up to the prince's shoulder once more. "Goodbye, dear prince," he said, "when you let me kiss your hand." "I'm glad that you are going at last, little swallow," said the prince. "You have stayed too long here, but you must give me on the lips, for I love you." "It is not to Egypt that I am going," said the swallow. "I am going to the house of Death. Death is the brother of Sleep, isn't he not?" And he kissed the happy prince on the lips, and fell down dead at his feet. At that moment a curious crack sounded inside the statue, and something had broken. In fact, it was that the little hut had broken in two, and certainly it was a dreadful hard frost. Only the next morning the mayor was walking in the square below with his town councillors as they passed the column in the top of the statue. "Dear me, how shabby the happy prince looks," he said. "How shabby indeed," cried the town councillors, who always agreed with the mayor, and went up to look at it. "The ruby has fallen off his sword, his eyes are gone, and he is golden no longer. In fact, he is a little better than a beggar," crowed the town councillors. "And here is actually a dead bird at his feet," continued the mayor. "It must issue a proclamation. The birds are not be allowed to die here." At the town club had a knock of the suggestion. So they pulled down the statue of the happy prince. "As he is no longer beautiful, he is no longer useful," said the art professor of the university, and he mounted the statue of the furnace, and the mayor held a minute on the preparations. He decided what he had done in the mail. "We must have another statue, of course," he said, "and it shall be a statue of myself. Of myself." They reached the town councils, and the quarreled and made at last of it, and they were still quarreling. "What a strange feeling," said the supervisor of the workmen. "His broken lead heart. Don't melt with the furnace, we must throw it away." So they threw it a mile of dust, where the dead swallow was also lying. "Only the two most precious things in the city," said the guardian to his angels, and the angel brought him the little heart and the dead bird. "You have rightly chosen," said the god. "But in my garden of paradise this little bird shall sing forevermore, and in my city of gold the happy prince shall praise thee."
Most children begin primary school at 5 or just before, but Matilda's parents, who wanted the other daughter's education, had forgotten to make the proper arrangements in advance. She was 5.5 when she entered school for the first time. The village school for younger children was bleak brick building called Crunch Hall Primary School. 250 people, aged from 12 years old. The boss, the supreme commander, lady whose name was Miss Lunchbowl. Bottom class were the 18 small girls at the same age as her. The teacher was called Miss Honey, and she was 23 and 24. She had lovely old face with blue eyes, and it was light brown. Her body was so slim and fragile, she would smash into 1,000 pieces like a porcelain figure. Miss Jennifer Honey was a mild and quiet person who never raised her voice until to smile. But there is no doubt she possessed that gift for being adored by every small child under her care. She seemed to understand totally the bewilderment and fear that the wealthy young children could, for the first time in their life, have heard it during class and been told to obey orders. Miss Trunchbull, the headmistress, was something else altogether. She was a gigantic holy terror, the regular monster who frightened the life out of the pupils and teachers alike. Miss Trunchbull never walked, she always marched like a stormtrooper, but no strides down the swinging. When she marched along the corridor, you could hear her snorting as she went, and if a group of children happened to you in the bath, she plowed on through them like a tank. But goodness, with many like you in this world, let us leave her for the moment and go back to Matilda and her first day in Miss Honey's class. Usual basis for going through the names of the children, Miss Honey handed out a brand new exercise book to each pupil. "You hold your own pencils, I hope," she said. "Yes, Miss Honey," they chanted. "Good. Now, this is the first day of school for each one of you. It has been at least a long years of schooling that all of you have to go through. 6 of those years were spent right here at Friendship Hall. As you know, your headmistress is Miss Trunchbull. Let me about something about Miss Trunchbull. She insists the bonds to vaguely disciplined for the school, and issued my advice to behave yourself in your presence. Never argue with her. Always do as she says. If you go outside of Miss Trunchbull, she can liquidize you like a carrot in the kitchen blender. It's nothing to laugh about, Lavender. Take the grin off your face. All of you will be wise to remember that Miss Trunchbull deals very severely with anyone who gets off line in the school. Have you got the message?" "Yes, Miss Honey," the chattered in eager little voices. I myself, Miss Honey went on, want to help you to learn as much as possible when you're in this class. For example, by the end of this week, I shall expect every one of you to know the 2 times table by heart, and in the year's time, I hope you all the multiplications up to 12. It will help you enormously if you do. Now then, do any of you haven't learned the 2 times table already? Matilda put up her hand. She was the only one. Miss Honey looked carefully at the tiny golden dog and the round serious face sitting in the second row. Wonderful, she said. Please stand up and recite it as much weight as you can. Matilda stood up and began to say the 2 times table. When she called as well as 24, she didn't stop. She can run as 514 is 30, as 514 is 50, as 516 is 16. Stop! Miss Honey said. She had listening slightly spellbound on a smooth recital, and now she said, How far can you go? How far? Matilda said. Well, I don't really know, Miss Honey. Quite a long way, I think. Miss Honey took a curious and thinking. You mean that you 2 times 28 is? Yes, Miss Honey. What is it? 56, Miss Honey. What about something I had like 2 times 487? Could you tell me that? I think so, yes. Are you sure? Why, yes, Miss Honey. Well, what is it? 2 times 487? 974. Matilda said immediately. She spoke quietly and politely without any sign of showing off. Miss Honey gazed at Matilda with absolute amazement, but during the next walk she kept her voice level. That is really splendid, she said. But of course multiplying by 2 is a lot. There's some bigger numbers. What really are the multiplication? Do you know any of those? I think so, Miss Honey. Which ones, Matilda? How far have you got? I don't know what you mean. What I mean is, do you read the 3 times table? Yes, Miss Honey. And the 4 times? Yes, Miss Honey. Well, how many do you know, Matilda? Do you know all to the 12 table? Yes, Miss Honey. What are 12 sevens? 84, Matilda said. Miss Honey paused and leaned back in her chair. She had never, only to 10-year-old, multiplied with such facility. I have the rest of all you are listening to this, she said to the class. Matilda is a very lucky girl. She has all wonderful parents who multiply lots of numbers. What's the mother who taught you? No, Miss Honey, it wasn't. You must have a great father, then she must be a brilliant teacher. No, Miss Honey, Matilda said quietly. My father did not teach me. You mean you taught yourself? I don't quite know, Matilda said quietly. It's just that it's very difficult to multiply one number by another. Miss Honey took a deep breath and let it out slowly. She looked again at the small one with bright eyes, staring the sight so sensible and solemn. You saw to multiply one number by another. Could you tell to explain it? For instance, if I have to multiply 14 by 19. No, that's for difficult. It's 266, Matilda said softly. Miss Honey stared at her. Then she picked up quickly the silent piece of paper and began to follow the lenses. The class remained quiet, watching her, waiting for what was coming next. Matilda was standing beside her desk. Now tell me, Matilda, Miss Honey said, still polishing Try to tell me exactly what's going inside your head when you get a multiplication like that. To do you obviously can work it out. Yes, almost instantly. Thinking 14 by 19. I simply putting down in my head and multiplied by 19. I don't know how else to explain it. I've always said that a little pocket calculator can do it. One should I? Why not indeed? The human brain is an amazing thing. I think it's not better enough, Matilda said. That's all the calculator is. How right you are, Miss Honey said. What's it? Miss Honey was feeling quite quivery. There was no doubt in her mind that her ordinary child genius and prodigy were fleeting through her head. These wonders do pop up in the world from time to time, but only once or twice in 100 years. After all, Mozart paused into the piano and looked what happened to him. It's not fair, Lavender said. How can she do it and we can't? Don't worry, Lavender, you'll soon catch up, Miss Honey said, lying through her teeth. At this point, Miss Honey could not resist the temptation that meant this astonishing child. The temptation for the rest of the class, but she was all other to explain to let the matter rest. Well, she said to the whole class, let us leave Psalms for the moment, and you can learn to spell. Hands up when spell cat, 3 hands went out. They belonged to Lavender, my words called Nigel, and to Matilda. Spell cat, Nigel. Nigel spelled it. Miss Honey now, normally she would not have dreamed of asking the class on this first day. I wonder, she said, any of you 3 who know how to spell cat have learned how to read a whole group of words when they thrown together in a sentence. I have, Nigel said. So have I, Lavender said. Miss Honey blinked and broke into blind choke from the sentence. I have already begun how to read long sentences. She could purposely make it difficult, which 5-year-olds alone to be able to manage it. Can you tell me what that says, Nigel? It's too hard, Lavender. The first word is I. Can any of you read the whole sentence? Waiting for the yes that would come from Matilda. Yes, Matilda said. Go ahead, Miss Honey said. But she'd read the sentence without hesitation at all. That's very good indeed, Miss Honey said, making the understatement of her life. How much can you read, Matilda? I think I can read most things, Miss Honey, Matilda said. Then, my friends, I can't always understand the meanings. Miss Honey got to her feet and walked smartly after the room, but was back with carrying a thick book. She opened it at round and placed it on Matilda's desk. This is a book of humorous poetry, she said. See if you can read that one aloud. Slowly and at a nice speed, Matilda began to read. And you dining at crew, rather large mouse, think is you. Graduate, don't shout and wave it about, or the rest will be wanting on too. And laughed. Miss Honey said, Do you know what epicure is, Matilda? It is for Stanty with his eating, Matilda said. That is correct, Miss Honey said. And do you have to know what this particular value of poetry is called? It's called a limerick. Matilda said. It really was. He's so funny. It's a famous one, Miss Honey said, picking up and stood in front of the class. And witty limerickers is very hard to write, she added. They look, but certain they are not. I know, Matilda said. I tried a few times, but mine are never any good. You have you? Miss Honey said, more startled than ever. Well, Matilda, I would rather not. You say you've written. You're trying to remember one for us? Well, Matilda said, hesitating, I likely be trying to one about you, Miss Honey. Well, been sitting here. About me? Miss Honey cried. Well, certainly you've been read now, aren't we? I don't think I want to say it, Miss Honey. Please tell it, Miss Honey said. I promise I won't mind. I think you will, Miss Honey, because you use your first name to make things rhyme, and that's why I don't say it. How do you know my first name? Miss Honey asked. I heard Jane calling you it just before we came in. She called you Jenny. I insist upon having this limerick, Miss Honey said, smiling rare smiles. Stand up and recited. Reluctantly, Matilda stood up and really slowly, very nervously, she recited her limerick. We all ask about Jenny. Is surely there cannot be many young girls in the place with so lovely a face. The answer to that is not any. The whole of Miss Honey's pale, long, blazing face brushed the brilliant scarlet. Then once again she smiled. Why, thank you, Matilda. No, it is not true. It is very good limerick. From the third row the desk, Melinda said, It's good, I like it. It's true as well, the boy called Gold Rupert said. Of course it's true, Nigel said. Already the whole class had begun to warn the words Miss Honey. Oh, knows yet she can't take in the nose except Matilda. Who taught you to read, Matilda? Miss Honey asked. I taught myself, Miss Honey. And have you read all by yourself? Any children's books, I mean? I've all read all that are in public library in the high street. And did you like them? I liked some of them very much indeed, Matilda said, but it was really dull. Tell me one that you liked. I liked The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I think Mr. C.S. Lewis is a very good writer, but he has one failing. There are no funny bits in his books. You are right there, Miss Honey said. Not Mary and Mr. Tolkien either, Matilda said. Do you think that all children ought to have funny bits in them? Miss Honey asked. I do, Matilda said. Children are not so serious, girlfriend. They love to laugh. Miss Honey was astounded by wisdom with this shiny girl. What do you read Matilda's books? I'm reading other books, Matilda said. I've borrowed them from the library. What other books? Miss Honey murmured. I really want to Jack Dickens. He makes me laugh a lot, especially Mr. Pickwick. A deaf moved the bed in the corridor sounded for the end of class. Side 2. In the interval, Miss Honey left the class and had to wait for the headmistress's study. She felt wildly excited. She had just the small girl who possessed also into her what extraordinary qualities so brilliant. It was to be ridiculous to the child stuck in the bottom form. Normally Miss Honey was terrified and kept well away from her, but at this moment she took on anybody. She knocked on the door at Brady's private study. "Handle!" boomed the deep and dangerous voice of Miss Trunchbull. Miss Honey went in. "Now, most guest teacher, I shall speak of the fine qualities and the still children, with best interest at heart. They are sympathetic, they are fair, and they are interested in education. Miss Trunchbull possessed none of these qualities, and how she ever got her present job was a mystery. She was a bold, a formidable female. She had once been a famous athlete. Was still clearly 11 tons. Her face was been a beauty nor joy forever. She had an obstinate chin, a cruel mouth, and small, arrogant eyes. And that's why her clothes they went to say the least extremely odd. She always wore the brown cotton smock, which was pinned around the waist with a wide leather belt. The belt was fastened in front with long silver buckles. The massive eyes were not from out of the smoke were encased in extraordinary breeches, bottle green in color and made of coarse twill. These breeches reached just below the knees, and from there on down she sported green stockings with torn-up tops, which displayed her calf muscles to perfection. On her feet she had matted with leather flaps. When Miss Honey bought it, Miss Trunchbull was standing up her huge desk and looked kindly and patient on her face. "Yes, Miss Honey, what is it you want? You were very flustered this morning. Had those little stinkers flinting stink balls at you?" "No, mistress, nothing like that." "Well, what is it, Madam? It's a woman." "There's a little girl called Matilda Wormwood," Miss Honey began. "That's the Walters in the village. An excellent person, Wormwood. I was there only yesterday. He sold me a car, almost new, only down £10 a month, at a electric bargain. Yes, I liked Wormwood. A real hero of our society. He thought it was a bad blood, though. Her father says she's a real what?" "Oh, no, headmistress. Nothing, that can't be right." "Oh, yes, Miss Honey, it is right. I thought we knew to think first thing this morning. I discovered Miss Honey as a teacher that a far more dangerous creature than a bad boy. Nasty, dirty things, little girls, so glad I never was one." "She's completely off her rocker," Miss Honey told herself. I must tell you, headmistress, that you're completely mistaken about putting a spink ball under your desk." "I am never mistaken, Miss Honey." "But, headmistress, the child's only right to the school this morning. It's straight." "Don't ask me for a mistake, woman. Now, what is it you want?" "I came to talk to you about Matilda, headmistress. Matilda is a genius." Mentioned of these words, Miss Trunchbull's face glowed purple, and her whole body seemed like a ball of rose. "A genius?" she shouted. "What people is this you're talking, madam? I have your father's word that the child is against them." "Her father is wrong, headmistress." "Don't be at work, Miss Honey. You've made a beast of harm to her father is long ago alive." Miss Honey was determined to have her say, and she just right. But the nasty things Matilda had to do with arithmetic. "So she's you tell us, but you've tasted but hard as she," Miss Houghton barked. "My dear one, genius has made her a parrot." "But his mistress, she can read." "So can I," Miss Trunchbull snapped. "It is my opinion that Matilda is delightful, and Miss the top one was 11-year-old. "Ha! So you can't handle her. And Miss Wilson, in the top one, she'll..." No, this is not my reason at all." "Oh, yes, it is. I can show your little plot, madam. And my answer is no." But his mistress, "Please, not another word!" shouted Miss Trunchbull. "And in any case, I have the rule this school that all children meet regardless of ability." Miss Honey stood there, helpless. Well then. It's up to you, headmistress." "You don't write it up to me!" Miss Trunchbull bellowed. Miss Honey turned and walked, feeling depressed, but in no means defeated. "I am going to do something about this child," she told herself. When Miss Honey emerged from the headmistress's study, most of the children were outside in the playground. Her first move was to go around the various teachers who taught a similar class. She brought them number textbooks with algebra, geometry, English, literature, and the like. Then she saw Matilda and called out to class. "There is no point," she said, "in doing nothing when I teach the rest of them 2 times table and to count cats and rats and mouse. So, in each lesson I should get one of these textbooks to study. At the end of the lesson you will come to me if you have any, and she'll try them to help. How does that sound?" "Thank you, Miss Honey, that sounds fine. I'm sure that much fine for later on, but for the moment the headmistress wishes you to stay where you are." "Very well, Miss Honey. Thank you for getting those books for me. What a nice child she is."